Have you ever wondered why your hair seems to thin as you get older, even when you're eating well, staying active, and trying every shampoo on the shelf? What if I told you that most hair loss we experience with age isn't just bad luck? It's a signal from your body about deeper metabolic, hormonal, and inflammatory imbalances? Here's what's really going on inside your body. Hair isn't just strands on your head, it's living tissue. At the base of each hair follicle is a tiny factory of rapidly dividing cells that need energy, nutrients, hormonal balance, and low inflammation to stay in growth mode for as long as possible. With aging, this factory starts to slow down. The growth phase, called anagen, becomes shorter, the resting phase, telogen, gets longer, and the hair follicle itself becomes smaller and less productive. These changes aren't random. They're rooted in shifts in metabolism, nutrient status, stress hormones, insulin signaling, and local inflammation around the follicle. Most people think hair loss is purely genetic or cosmetic, but the research paints a different picture. It's metabolic and physiological. Studies on hair aging show that chronic low-grade inflammation, oxidative stress, and declining energy pathways in follicle cells are central parts of why hair thins over time. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine a garden. For plants to grow thick and lush, they need fertile soil, balanced water and sunlight, protection from pests, and a steady energy source. Now imagine the soil becomes depleted, the water supply erratic, or stressors like heat and bugs increase. Even the healthiest seeds will struggle. Hair follicles are similar. If the soil inside your body, meaning your nutrient levels, hormones, stress balance, blood flow, and metabolism, isn't optimized, even strong genetic potential can never fully express itself. Here's the good news. This isn't about miracle cures or overnight fixes. It's about understanding the biology of your hair and applying simple evidence-based strategies that honor how the body actually works. Over this video, we'll break down 6 science-backed insights that help you shift the internal environment from hair shedding to hair growing, naturally, sustainably, and without relying on pills or creams that only treat the surface. We'll cover how insulin and cortisol affect follicle metabolism, which nutrients truly matter, how sleep and stress regulation alter your growth cycle, and when strategic intermittent fasting and meal timing can turn on cellular resilience pathways that support anagen longevity. By the end of this talk, you'll understand hair loss not as an inevitability of aging, but as a biological signal. And you'll know the actionable steps you can take starting today to support thicker, healthier hair long into your later years. If this perspective feels different from anything you've heard before and helpful so far, make sure to subscribe because I post content like this every day focused on science-backed natural health optimization. Let's start with something that surprises most people. Your blood sugar levels have a direct impact on hair growth. If you've been blaming genetics or age alone, here's what's really going on inside your body. Hair follicles are incredibly energy demanding. Every day, each follicle works like a tiny factory, producing thousands of cells to build a single strand of hair. To do that efficiently, it relies on a steady supply of glucose and insulin signaling to shuttle nutrients into its cells. But when insulin levels spike too often because of high sugar foods, refined carbs, or irregular eating patterns, something subtle but damaging happens. The follicle becomes less sensitive to insulin, its nutrient uptake drops, and inflammation increases around the scalp. Over time, this slows the growth phase of your hair and makes shedding more likely. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your hair follicle as a small city. Glucose is the fuel, and insulin is the delivery truck that distributes this fuel to every home and factory. If too many trucks are on the road at once, or if traffic jams keep happening, fuel doesn't reach where it's needed. The factories slow down, and the city's growth stalls. In your scalp, this traffic jam is exactly what happens when insulin spikes repeatedly. What the research shows is that consistent blood sugar management supports healthier, longer anagen phases, the active growth period of hair. In fact, studies suggest that insulin resistance can accelerate age-related thinning even in people with no genetic predisposition. So, what can you do about it? Here's a practical protocol to start. Time your meals strategically. Avoid snacking constantly. Try a 12-16 hour overnight fast to give insulin a break. This doesn't have to be extreme fasting. Simply finishing dinner earlier and delaying breakfast slightly can lower your daily insulin exposure. Prioritize low glycemic foods. Vegetables, legumes, berries, nuts, and fatty fish help maintain stable glucose without triggering large insulin spikes. Pair protein with carbs. Each meal should include a moderate amount of protein. This slows glucose absorption and provides amino acids needed for hair keratin production. Move after eating. A short 10-15 minute walk after meals significantly improves insulin sensitivity and nutrient delivery to hair follicles. Support nutrients. Chromium, magnesium, and alpha lipoic acid have been shown to support glucose metabolism. Incorporating these through diet or targeted supplements may help your follicles get the fuel they need. Here's the key point to remember. It's not about avoiding sugar completely, it's about controlling how and when your body handles glucose. This subtle shift alone can reduce follicle stress, lower scalp inflammation, and create a more favorable environment for hair growth. If this section resonates with you, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day, focused on natural strategies to optimize energy, metabolism, and aging gracefully. By addressing insulin and blood sugar first, you're not just targeting hair loss, you're supporting your entire metabolic system, which also improves energy, fat metabolism, and overall longevity. Now let's talk about hormones, the silent drivers behind hair thinning that many seniors overlook. Hair loss isn't just about aging, it's about how your hormones change over time, particularly testosterone, estrogen, and a molecule called DHT, or dihydrotestosterone. Here's what's really going on inside your body. DHT is a derivative of testosterone. In some follicles, DHT binds to receptors and essentially tells the follicle to shrink. Over time, this leads to thinner, shorter hairs, a process called follicle miniaturization. While genetics play a role, your body's hormonal balance heavily influences how sensitive your follicles are to DHT. Low estrogen, common in postmenopausal women, removes a protective effect on follicles. In men, fluctuating testosterone and rising cortisol with age can amplify DHT's impact. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine each hair follicle as a garden plant. Hormones are the soil's pH and nutrient balance. If DHT is too high, it's like adding acid to the soil. The plant struggles, grows weak stems, and produces smaller leaves. Restore the balance, and growth improves naturally. What the research shows is that strategies which support healthy hormone metabolism, not just blocking DHT with medication, can slow or reverse age-related hair loss. Studies indicate that lifestyle factors like diet, exercise, and stress management can influence local hormone conversion in the scalp and reduce follicle sensitivity to DHT. Here's what you can do in practical terms. Optimize protein and healthy fats. Your body needs cholesterol and amino acids to produce balanced hormones. Include eggs, fatty fish, olive oil, and nuts. These nutrients support testosterone, estrogen, and thyroid hormones, all essential for follicle health. Support liver health. The liver metabolizes hormones. Overloaded or inflamed livers increase DHT conversion. Eat cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. They support liver detox pathways and help balance estrogen and testosterone. Incorporate resistance training. Strength exercises increase testosterone naturally, improve insulin sensitivity, and enhance circulation to the scalp. Think of it as fertilizing the soil in our garden analogy. Reduce chronic stress, cortisol spikes can disrupt testosterone and estrogen balance. Daily meditation, deep breathing exercises, or even a 10-minute walk outdoors can modulate stress hormones, protecting follicles from DHT-induced miniaturization. Key supplements: saw palmetto, pumpkin seed oil, and nettle root have research backing their ability to mildly reduce DHT conversion locally in the scalp without systemic hormone disruption. These are best used alongside lifestyle changes rather than as standalone solutions. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate DHT completely, it's a natural, necessary hormone. The goal is to reduce follicle sensitivity and support healthy hormone balance throughout the body. By doing so, your hair has a much higher chance of staying thick and strong, even into later decades. If this insight feels useful, consider pausing to reflect on your own habits. Small changes in diet, exercise, and stress management can have an outsized impact on hair growth. By understanding hormones as signals, not enemies, you shift from reactive hair treatments to root cause solutions that support your overall health, energy, and longevity. Let's dive into something most people underestimate: micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that fuel your hair follicles. You might be eating healthy, but even subtle deficiencies can slow or stop hair growth. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Hair follicles are among the fastest growing cells in the body. To keep up, they need a constant supply of amino acids, minerals, and cofactors that drive cellular energy production, protein synthesis, and antioxidant defenses. Without these nutrients, follicles weaken, the anagen growth phase shortens, and shedding increases. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of each follicle as a high-performance car. Protein is the engine, zinc and iron are the spark plugs, vitamin D is the fuel regulator, and biotin is the oil that keeps everything running smoothly. If any of these parts are missing or malfunctioning, the car struggles to run, no matter how much push you give it externally. What the research shows is clear. Deficiencies in key nutrients like iron, zinc, vitamin D, biotin, selenium, and omega-3 fatty acids are strongly linked to hair thinning and shedding, especially in seniors. For example, iron supports oxygen delivery to follicles, zinc is critical for keratin production, and vitamin D regulates follicle cycling. Even mild deficiencies can have visible effects. So, what can you do to nourish your follicles effectively? Here's a practical approach. Optimize protein intake. Include complete proteins like eggs, fish, poultry, and legumes. Amino acids, particularly cysteine and methionine, are building blocks for keratin, the protein hair is made of. Check and support. Key minerals, zinc and iron, are critical for follicle metabolism. Foods like pumpkin seeds, lentils, oysters, and lean meats provide bioavailable forms. Pair iron with vitamin C-rich foods for better absorption. Support fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin D and vitamin A are essential for follicle signaling. Sun exposure, fatty fish, and leafy greens combined with healthy fats help your body absorb them naturally. Include omega-3s for anti-inflammatory support. Salmon, sardines, chia, and flaxseed help reduce scalp inflammation, improving nutrient delivery to follicles. Consider targeted supplementation if needed. In cases of confirmed deficiencies, a high-quality multivitamin or specific supplements can be helpful. But remember, supplements only work if your body can absorb them. Pairing with fats or avoiding interference from excess caffeine or alcohol matters. Hydration and circulation. Water supports nutrient transport. Mild dehydration can make follicles work less efficiently. Pair hydration with light scalp massage to increase blood flow and nutrient delivery. Here's the key takeaway. You can't grow strong hair without feeding the follicle's cellular machinery. Skipping nutrients or relying solely on topical products is like trying to run that high-performance car with missing parts. It won't reach its potential. Actionable habit? Try tracking your diet for a week, noting protein, leafy greens, and healthy fats. Small daily adjustments, like adding a handful of pumpkin seeds, a piece of salmon, or a morning egg, can dramatically improve follicle function over time. By addressing micronutrients systematically, you're not just helping your hair, you're boosting energy, metabolism, and overall resilience, because these same nutrients support brain, immune, and cardiovascular health. Now let's talk about something that's often invisible, but profoundly impacts hair growth: chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. Even if your diet looks healthy and your hormones are balanced, tiny, persistent inflammation can silently damage your follicles. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every hair follicle is surrounded by a microenvironment of blood vessels, nerves, and immune cells. Normally, mild inflammation is a natural part of hair cycling and repair. But when low-grade inflammation persists, triggered by poor diet, stress, environmental toxins, or metabolic issues like insulin resistance, It creates oxidative stress. Free radicals accumulate, proteins and DNA in follicle cells are damaged, and the anagen growth phase shortens. Over time, follicles miniaturize, hairs thin, and shedding increases. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your scalp as a greenhouse. Inflammation is like a slow-burning wildfire that smolders underneath the soil. Even if the plants appear okay at first, the roots are stressed, nutrient uptake drops, and growth stalls. Calm the fire, and the roots thrive, producing thicker, stronger hair. What the research shows is that antioxidants and anti-inflammatory strategies can protect follicles at the cellular level. Studies highlight compounds like polyphenols from green tea, flavonoids from berries, and omega-3 fatty acids as protective agents that reduce oxidative damage in follicle cells. Even mild reductions in systemic inflammation, measured by markers like CRP, correlate with improved hair density and growth. Here's what you can do to reduce chronic inflammation naturally. Adopt an anti-inflammatory diet. Emphasize colorful vegetables, berries, leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, and seeds. Minimize ultra-processed foods, refined sugars, and fried items that fuel inflammation. Include polyphenols and antioxidants, green tea, turmeric, blueberries, and dark chocolate in moderation provide compounds that neutralize free radicals at the follicle level. Manage stress. Chronic stress fuels inflammation through cortisol. Daily meditation, yoga, or breathing exercises calm this response. Even short, consistent practices work. Support gut health. A healthy microbiome reduces systemic inflammation. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and prebiotic fiber help maintain this balance. Move your body. Exercise improves circulation and reduces inflammatory cytokines. Even walking 20-30 minutes daily significantly lowers oxidative stress markers. Sleep for recovery. Deep sleep is when the body repairs oxidative damage and regenerates tissues. Aim for 7-8 hours. Consistent sleep timing enhances follicle repair cycles. Actionable tip: pick one anti-inflammatory habit this week, perhaps a daily cup of green tea or adding salmon twice weekly, and observe how your scalp and energy feel over time. Small, consistent interventions accumulate powerfully. Remember, inflammation and oxidative stress don't just affect hair. They influence heart health, brain function, metabolic resilience, and longevity. By calming the hidden fire in your scalp and body, you're not only preserving hair, but supporting your overall vitality. If you found this helpful so far, take a moment to reflect on which small changes you can implement this week. It's these incremental shifts that make lasting differences. Now let's focus on something that quietly sabotages hair growth every day: stress and disrupted sleep. Many seniors overlook this, thinking hair loss is purely genetic or nutritional. But here's what's really going on inside your body. When your body experiences stress, whether it's emotional, physical, or metabolic, it releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is part of your fight or flight system, designed for short-term emergencies. But chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, which disrupts multiple systems, including hair follicles. High cortisol shortens the anagen growth phase, pushes follicles into the resting telogen phase prematurely, and increases local inflammation in the scalp. This can trigger rapid shedding, sometimes called telogen effluvium. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Think of your hair follicles as factories with strict production schedules. Sleep is the night shift where maintenance happens, machinery is repaired, energy is replenished, and waste is cleared. Chronic stress is like a constant flood of urgent orders that keeps the night shift from doing its work. Eventually, production slows, machinery wears down, and output, in this case hair growth, declines. What the research shows is striking. Studies link poor sleep and chronic stress to measurable hair thinning. For example, even one night of disrupted sleep elevates cortisol levels, increases oxidative stress, and impairs nutrient delivery to follicles. Over time, repeated stress cycles can accelerate age-related hair loss. So, how do you fight back? Here's a practical protocol for stress management and sleep optimization. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Keep a consistent bedtime and wake time. Quality sleep ensures follicle repair and hormone balance. Create a pre-bed ritual. Dim lights, avoid screens, 60 minutes before bed, and consider deep breathing or gentle stretching. This lowers cortisol naturally. Incorporate mind-body practices. Meditation, yoga, or even a short walk outdoors can reset stress hormones, improving scalp circulation and nutrient delivery. Time your caffeine and meals wisely. Avoid late afternoon caffeine or heavy meals close to bedtime. These disrupt natural cortisol cycles and reduce follicle repair time. Supplement support if needed. Magnesium, L-theanine, or adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha can help modulate cortisol, but lifestyle strategies should come first. Micro moments of calm. Even 5-10 minutes of slow breathing between tasks lowers cortisol spikes, reduces scalp inflammation, and improves metabolic health overall. Actionable habit: pick one small stress reduction strategy this week, maybe a nightly wind down routine or a morning meditation, and track both your hair shedding and how energized you feel. You'll be amazed at the ripple effects beyond hair alone. Remember, sleep and stress aren't just cosmetic factors. They influence metabolism, insulin sensitivity, inflammation, mood, and longevity. By regulating cortisol and supporting restorative sleep, you're giving your follicles and your body the conditions they need to thrive. Finally, let's discuss something often overlooked: blood flow to your scalp. Hair follicles are living tissues, and like any living tissue, they need oxygen, nutrients, and energy delivered through the bloodstream. Poor circulation starves follicles, slowing growth and contributing to thinning over time. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, arterial flexibility decreases, microvascular function declines, and chronic inflammation can constrict capillaries. The follicles at the very ends of the circulatory network, like those on your scalp, are often the first to feel the effects. Reduced blood flow means fewer nutrients reach the follicle cells, less oxygen is available for energy production, and waste products accumulate, all of which shorten the anagen growth phase. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your follicles as tiny factories at the end of a long supply chain. If the delivery trucks, blood, slow down, or the roads, capillaries, are blocked, the factories don't get raw materials on time. Production slows, quality drops, and eventually, the factories shrink. Increasing circulation is like clearing the roads and adding more trucks. Suddenly, energy and nutrients arrive consistently, and production ramps up. What the research shows is that interventions to improve microcirculation can directly benefit hair growth. Massage, low-level laser therapy, and even simple lifestyle changes like exercise increase blood flow, enhancing nutrient and oxygen delivery to follicle cells. Studies have shown that scalp massage increases hair thickness and follicle activity over time, likely by stimulating these vascular pathways. Here's what you can do to support scalp circulation naturally. Daily scalp massage. Use your fingertips to gently massage your scalp for 5-10 minutes. This improves blood flow and stimulates follicle activity. Exercise regularly. Cardiovascular activity, like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling, enhances overall circulation, ensuring follicles get the nutrients they need. Maintain healthy blood pressure. Excessively high or low blood pressure can impair microcirculation. Balance sodium intake, hydration, and stress management help keep your vessels flexible. Topical nutrient delivery. Certain oils, like rosemary or peppermint, can increase local blood flow when massaged into the scalp, delivering extra antioxidant support. Cold heat contrast therapy, alternating warm compresses with brief cool exposure, can improve vascular responsiveness and follicle nutrient delivery. Support nitric oxide production. Foods rich in nitrates, like beets, leafy greens, and spinach, help dilate blood vessels, improving oxygen and nutrient delivery to the scalp. Actionable habit. Pick one circulation-enhancing strategy to practice daily, whether it's a 10-minute scalp massage, a short cardio session, or adding nitrate-rich foods to your meals. Over weeks, you'll notice not just thicker hair, but better scalp health and overall vitality. Here's the key takeaway. All the nutrients, hormones, and energy in the world won't work if they can't reach the follicle. Optimizing circulation is the final piece of the puzzle for natural, sustainable hair growth. If you found this series valuable so far, now's a great time to subscribe. I post daily science-backed tips to help you optimize metabolism, energy, and aging naturally. Let's take a moment to step back and see the full picture of hair health. Hair loss isn't just a cosmetic concern, it's a window into your overall physiology. By understanding what's happening at the cellular and hormonal level, you gain the power to influence not only your hair, but your energy, metabolism, and long-term health. We started with insulin and blood sugar balance. Repeated spikes starve follicles of nutrients and increase inflammation. Simple adjustments, like stabilizing your meals, adding protein and fiber, and moving after eating, create a more supportive environment for hair growth. Next, we explored hormonal shifts and DHT sensitivity. DHT isn't the enemy, but when follicles are overly sensitive, they shrink and weaken. Supporting healthy hormone balance through protein, healthy fats, liver-supporting vegetables, resistance training, and stress reduction helps follicles thrive even with natural age-related changes. Then, we addressed micronutrients. Hair follicles are high-demand tissues, and deficiencies in iron, zinc, biotin, vitamin D, selenium, and omega-3s impair their function. Nourishing your follicles with a nutrient-rich diet plus targeted supplementation when needed, fuels the cellular machinery for stronger, thicker hair. We also talked about chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. Even subtle, persistent inflammation can damage follicles over time. Anti-inflammatory foods, antioxidants, stress management, gut support, and consistent movement all calm this hidden fire and protect hair at the cellular level. Next came stress, cortisol, and sleep. Chronic stress pushes follicles into rest prematurely, shortens growth cycles, and accelerates shedding. Prioritizing restorative sleep, meditation, breathing exercises, and consistent daily routines lowers cortisol, supports follicle repair, and boosts overall vitality. Finally, we covered circulation and scalp blood flow. All the nutrients and hormones in the world won't matter if they can't reach the follicle. Daily scalp massage, cardiovascular exercise, nitrate-rich foods, and simple heat or cold techniques improve blood flow, delivering the oxygen and nutrients follicles need to grow strong, healthy hair. The overarching principle here is root cause thinking. Hair loss isn't a problem to mask. It's a signal from your body. By addressing insulin, hormones, nutrition, inflammation, stress, and circulation, you create an internal environment where follicles can function optimally. Here's your next step. Try just one of these changes today. Maybe a 10-minute scalp massage, a protein-rich breakfast, or a short walk after lunch. Track how your hair, energy, and focus respond over the coming weeks. Small, consistent actions compound into real change. If this video added value, like the video and subscribe to join others who are optimizing hair health, metabolism, and longevity naturally. Remember, thick, vibrant hair isn't a miracle. It's a reflection of a body in balance. Take control of your internal environment and the results will follow.